Hi guys, I'm Scott Brown, a sole developer for the game Journey for the Crown, and this is my 14th devlog. I've been really busy lately fixing up a lot of scenes and doing a couple other little tiny things. What I've been finding was some heavy criticism coming my way on the detail in certain scenes, so I spent some time, and here's the throne room, for example, and now this is what it looks like today. I fixed it up with some new pillars, I added some flooring detail, and I was really amazed at how much better it looked. The garden scene was also something that really bothered me. This version looks really boring. So I spent some time fixing that up, and I added a different terrain. I also added these fencing areas with a little walkway through that you can go through. I found that this amount of detail was really important. I also added a little fountain in here with some cool sound to it, and as you approach it, you can hear some water dripping, and even the background there on the wall was pretty cool. In the King's Quarters, I also changed the boxy look of all the rooms and added these rounded walls. I thought it looks pretty cool. I also added some pillars along the walls just to break it up, that repetition, and even some banners too. Now the next area that really needed some work was the sounds. All the item sounds are way off, so I went and worked on a new system that incorporated a very similar sound to what you would find in Diablo, where when the item is falling to the ground, it makes this windy whip sound. So I added that in there, and I also made sure to integrate it with when you drop items from your inventory as well. When I added this in there, I was really surprised on the feeling that it brings. Right, it's a bit of nostalgia, I suppose, but it really sounds polished now. Now, I've been going through some of the dialogue and text in the game and just incorporating some images to go along with it so it's not so bland. Now, it's a lot of work to do all this stuff, painting them and drawing them in Photoshop, and AI has become very, very popular lately, so I went and test-drived out this Discord bot, and I was really impressed by some of the books that I was able to generate here. Now, it wasn't really that easy to do. There's a lot of messing around and trying to figure it out, but, you know, when you do a whole bunch of them, you can kind of find one at least that works. So anyways, I grabbed one book that I liked, and it's never really perfect right away. You gotta figure out how to use Photoshop and apply some filters and make it fit your game. So here I am. I just grabbed a blank one and I added a filter to it, and I put some details on it that made it relevant to what you see on screen. I think it's pretty cool. Now, I spoke last week about the guild hall that I had redone. I actually went and redid it one more time, and I added in this back area here that has merchants that you can buy basic spells from. So some of the more core and awesome looking spells, those ones you're going to have to find, but at least if you had somebody that was missing one of the basic spells, you could always come back here and find them. So we have got merchants now that support that stuff, and that took a little bit of work to put in, but I'm really happy with the result, and I ironed out any other issues I had with merchants. Now, while I was adding this guild hall in the back here, I also added in some practice dummy targets that you can try your spells on and just see how they work. It was a lot easier than I thought. I just grabbed the enemy scripts that I had created and gave them some godly-like stats, and put them in different sections. You got an area effects section here, and then some single target ones. I was also doing a bit of work on some of the occupants inside the castle, and I was finding that I had some plot holes, so I went and devised this family tree thing here just to keep things organized so that I wasn't like putting plot holes in the story. And as I started piecing it together, I realized I had quite a few, so I was able to iron those out in the story, and I was really, really impressed with the way this thing looked. Maybe I'll get around to polishing this thing up and putting it online so people can see it. But for now, it's just going to be a little guidance tool for me so that I don't create a bunch of plot holes. And it's also going to help me create some pretty cool and interesting characters that I can include in all the castles. Now, with all this stuff on that family tree, I was trying to create story arcs and little bits of stuff for all these rooms here that I got to fill up. You know, it's not easy coming up with this information, but when you have it laid out in a nice, cool family tree like that, ideas just start to spring up like weeds. So I kind of generated this as this woman here. Her name's Big Bessie, and I just threw in some story here. I'm just going to kind of skim through it, and And then I'll just go through and show you a couple other things that I also added, just to give these empty rooms something about them, right? So it's not just like an empty box that has nothing to do with it. I added some meat over here. There was a pie over in the other room. And here's a little story that I'm going to read you. A very old book called The Dark Endless Abyss. On a journey of haste, we ventured through the endless abyss. The water was cold and the sky was almost always cloudy. For once in a while, a break of sunlight would appear, but only to reveal what lay under us. We found beasts of all form that would shake the boots off any pirate. Hungry or curious these creatures may be, we dare not test, for their size would instill fear in a dragon. I expect we are somewhere in the middle of our crusade, as the sun has not gazed upon us in quite a while. I have lost all sense of time, but my device still works, and we are heading in the right direction, southeast, like an arrow heading to Sulfaria. I expect this crusade would estimate around 2 months to complete. I hope that we arrive on time. We have made it through alive and well aside from our typical maladies of the sea. But when we arrived, the merchant I seeked was not expecting me. It was extremely odd and unusual. I pleaded my case, but the rate and the loot I delivered matched no manifest he possessed. I was unfortunately left docked and coinless upon arrival. It was only 2 months later that the merchant knocked on my cabin door and honored the agreement. We set sail that day around the dark, endless abyss. Now, I've been taking some pretty heavy criticism lately. It seems like the more popular my game gets, the more trolls and people come in here and just try to derail me. I'm trying not to let it get to me, but it's really difficult. I wonder if some of you guys have shared any experiences. Maybe you can let me know in the comments, but it's really tough. I never expected to get so much hate for something that I really love doing. It's a struggle every day, and but I'm proud of where my demo is right now in my game. I think it's evolving to a really good-looking game. I'm having a ton of fun, which is also a huge bonus. But sometimes when you hear those comments from people that just hop right in and say something really negative instantaneously, some of the questions that they ask or comments they make, you can tell they haven't spent more than 5 minutes on my YouTube channel before saying something mean. Anyways, I try not to let it bug me, and some of you guys over on my Twitch channel have been super awesome and supportive and saying such kind things. I really appreciate that. I can't tell you how much that helps in my day-to-day putting this game together. Well, that's it for this devlog, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please do so now. And if you want, always head on over to my Twitch channel where you can see me every Saturday. And sometimes I stream during the week. It'd be really nice to see some of you guys come on over there and say hi, and we can chit-chat, and you can see some of the work in progress stuff. Anyways, that's it for now. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.